Just when you think that Colorado head coach Deion Sanders is done making additions to this roster, he is. He keeps on doing it, and he strikes again on Thursday.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Bohr, but today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to tune in to every single one of your favorite teams like me, and we could discuss all things that are happening. For Colorado, there's another thing happening. They have another roster addition, and this one is a little bit random, a little bit under the radar, but just goes to show how good at identifying talent Coach Prime and his staff are. And they add to their 2024 class, which now brings the recruiting total or the recruiting class up to 8. They added a corner out of Florida named Ebenezer Boozy. I believe I'm saying that right, or Bowsy. I'm going to say Boozy. He's 6'1", 180 pounds. He did have some offers coming in. Florida State, Louisville, Maryland, Pitt were among the 13 programs that offered him. And for whatever reason, his process took a little longer than most. And he's a 3-star out of Naples, Florida. So Coach Prime obviously gets another Florida guy, Floridian, if you will. He had 5 picks in 21 games at Naples as an upperclassman. And then obviously he kind of adds some depth to a really strong position group for Colorado that has at corner, they have Omarion Cooper, Preston Hodge, Travis Hunter as a junior who's going to the NFL next year. Then they have Cormani McClain and DJ McKinney and redshirt freshman Adam Hopkins, and Isaiah Harge. So he comes into the mix. Obviously, he's a little behind the 8 ball. He is a scholarship addition, which I think many people were kind of assuming that any additions from now on would be walk-ons, but he is a scholarship addition. So he is someone that will come in during fall camp likely and kind of try to work his way at the depth chart. Obviously, he's working from behind the 8 ball because he didn't get a chance to really work with, I guess, the spring and the weightlifting and all that stuff. So he has to adjust to the college size. But for Colorado, it's a great addition. He's 6'1". He's got the size. Obviously, some teams are picking up interest in him. He took a visit, or not, excuse me, he hasn't visited, but he was projected to end up at UMass, and then it was projected to end up at Alabama A&M. So programs were interested in him. And I think for Colorado, who, like I said, they have a very veteran secondary group, but after this season, there's a big question mark as to what's going to happen with this secondary group. Like, are they going to be able to find all this talent via the portal, or are they going to develop guys? Like, is Cormani McClain, and DJ McKinney, are they going to step up and kind of be the corners that this program is built on? Or is a guy like Ebenezer Boozy, who obviously you never want a true freshman to have to play unless they're obviously that guy. But in most cases, some freshmen work their way onto the field. Last year was Carter Stottmeyer. It was guys like Dylan Edwards who worked his way onto the field. They worked their way into the rotation, and they both had big impacts for Colorado last season. So for Coach Prime and his staff to kind of get an under-the-radar signing when things are all said and done in the 2024 recruiting class, it's a big deal. I think this shows that his staff is still on the prowl for talent, and I think this kind of shows that they're willing to recruit more than people realize. Now, obviously, I think that putting together like a 25-person recruiting class would be huge for them, because then you don't have to go out and get 1-year rentals every year. But that's the Coach Prime method as of right now. And I really think that this addition is one that could end up really end up really helping them down the line. Because right now, at worst, he's a depth piece. At best, he's someone that kind of steps into a bigger role. And his stats are all impressive. He has, as a junior, 25 tackles, 8 pass breakups, an interception, and a forced fumble. In 2021, he played varsity for 3 years, obviously. 34 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and 4 picks as a sophomore. And then he had a big this past year. So Coach Prime and his staff identifying talent. Robert Livingston, he's obviously a defensive back's mind. So I expect this Colorado defensive back unit to be really strong next season. When you think about what they're working with, you have Coach Prime, who best defensive back in football history. Then you have Robert Livingston, who's been in the NFL for, I think it's over a decade or around a decade, and he's been working with nothing but secondary members. So obviously, those two minds together, I expect them to kind of have this secondary in shape. I expect them to be maybe one of the stronger units in the Big 12 and maybe one of the stronger units, obviously one of the stronger units on this team. So Colorado makes another addition. It was a bit of a surprise considering I would say his recruitment flew under the radar. He didn't have many entries over on 24/7, so it kind of goes as follows. He unofficially visited Florida State back in 2022, and then he officially visited UMass in 2023, and then committed to UMass like a week later, and then he decommitted in August, and then all of a sudden he committed to Colorado. So and he was offered in March. So he was offered yesterday and committed yesterday. So obviously he may have gone or was going to go a different route with his recruitment, but they kind of went under the radar. So let's see how it works out, how it pans out. Obviously, Coach Prime has a knack for getting the most out of corners. He will have an opportunity to really develop this young man into something special. And if at worst, he's a depth guy, and you always need more depth. Colorado struggled with depth at a lot of positions last year. So we will just have to wait and see how this pans out. When we come back, we got some off-season chatter that you guys need to hear about. But first, a word from our sponsors over at This week's March Madness Bracket Highlight is brought to you by our friends over at Nissan. Each week, we are picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest, just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, and these guys were able to take it to the next level. The Iowa State Cyclones can only be described as a Pathfinder. They've been thrilling to watch and have really created a lane for themselves, entering the tournament as one of the hottest teams in the country. They have a date with Illinois this Thursday in the Sweet 16. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. This episode is also brought to you by Bettor Together. Bracket busted, but want to stay in the game? Introducing Bettor Together, the first cooperative daily fantasy sports platform where teamwork triumphs talent and you could play with your friends, not against them. Pick more or less on real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboards. So grab a friend and join the social DFS movement. Bettor Together is the first cooperative daily fantasy application. It provides a sense of camaraderie and enhances the social experience of watching sports and makes you realize that daily fantasy sports is fun alone, but like other things, it's better with friends. It's a way to stay connected with friends when you can't watch sports together in person. It puts your group chat to the test and lets you prove yours is the best. Download Bettor Together now from the App Store and sign up using promo code Locked On for a free $5 entry into any NCAA basketball contest. Play with me in a contest on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Remember the code Locked On because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. I'm going to get in on the action tonight, so make sure to play with me tonight on Bettor Together. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you guys for all the support that you give me. We are talking about the offseason chatter around Colorado. Is it putting a target on their back? And is Coach Prime purposely doing this? Yes to both. I think Colorado is kind of generating some buzz around the program. I think they want people to doubt them. So that way next year, when they are actually a really good team or a really solid team, the haters have something to kind of be like, oh, and you're probably like, oh, the haters, what are you, 12? No, I'm just being realistic. As we saw last season, not many people were fans of, we'll just go to the 3-0 start. I know they finished 4-8. I know it. I was there. I was at games. Like, I get it. People were upset that Colorado was having success. They did not like Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, being so loud, so boisterous, so new to coaching and finding success. They did not like the fact that he went into the portal, hand-selected a team in a very different manner, and had success. Now, obviously, the success fizzled. I'm getting that. I understand. I'm not saying they were national title contenders by any means, but Colorado found their fair share of success and people hated it. Then, when they ended up losing, like you guys are probably going to point out in the comment section, people were like, see, I knew this team was a fraud. I knew this team would fail. And so I look at this offseason and You have Shador kind of taking shots at other players from Texas. Obviously, he's going to be playing programs in Texas. He's going to be playing a lot of Texas 6A players now that he's in the Big 12. You have Coach Prime kind of talking about, excuse me, I had to blow my nose a little bit. Sorry. But we're talking about obviously Colorado, Coach Prime, Shador. Shador takes some shots at some Texas 6A high school player, not players right now, but guys that come from those ranks. He came from a private school in Texas, takes a shot at those guys. Coach Prime is out here talking about how Shador and Travis are going to control where they go in the NFL draft. He's talking about Colorado making it to the playoff, contending for a title. And I think in essence, this is sort of a puffing out your chest if you're Coach Prime. You want to show that you're confident. But I also feel like, in a sense, he wants people to doubt him because when I think they will prove some people wrong next season, I do feel like a bowl game is very possible for them. And I think that a lot of realistic opportunities will come for them next season. This Colorado team has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way this offseason in a multitude of ways. And I think they will have a chance to prove these people. And with proving people wrong, you get to prove yourself right. And I think Colorado is in a great position to kind of be in a, it's weird to say this because obviously they kind of popped off last year, but they were one of those teams where they had a chance to make some noise. And we're back. Sorry. Technical difficulties. I'm struggling today. We're talking about all this offseason chatter. Like I mentioned before, Coach Prime is putting kind of a target on their backs, and I think it's to help them, and I also think it's to draw more attention. But when you have a program like Colorado, who many people love to hate on, many people love to shoot down, if they're succeeding, that obviously gives you that ammunition and gives you that media attention. But with media attention comes NIL, which we just talked about 2 days ago. Colorado's trying to get more involved in the NIL scene. They're trying to get more money to hang with the top dogs, to recruit with the Georgias, the Ohio States of the world. And then it comes down to, you look at recruiting, transfer portal. If Colorado starts proving these people wrong because they've been cashing some big checks this offseason, they will have the opportunity to recruit and bring in more portal players at a higher level than we've seen already. And that's pretty crazy considering Coach Prime put together a top 25 class his first month first day on the job at Colorado. Second year on the job, he's already put together 2 top 5 transfer portal classes. So he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly how to play the game. And I think Colorado has a chance to really make some noise this offseason or this season, because if they don't, this offseason will come back to bite them. I think that's on the contrary. So all this chatter that they're doing, all this talk that they're doing really comes back to bite them if it doesn't pay off. And you guys could comment below if I'm way off or if I'm missing out on something. But this offseason chatter, if they don't live up to the hype, will obviously come back to bite them tremendously. It'll hurt them in recruiting. It'll hurt them just in terms of on-field production. And then it'll hurt them in the media because obviously they will go from kind of that darling of college football to like, okay, that guy talks every offseason about doing this, this, and this, and they do nothing. And I'm not saying that that'll happen because I think they're going to make some noise this year, but I do think they really need to capitalize when they have these opportunities. Otherwise, it will come back to hurt them, and we don't want that to happen over here at Locked On Buffs because obviously we want all the positivity. We want all the good vibes. Even though you guys say I'm a pessimist, I'm not a pessimist. I'm just a realist. I like to talk about everything from every angle. So you guys comment below which offseason narrative you think is the biggest sort of, we want people to hold on to this so when we prove them wrong, we can point back at this. I know that's a long one, but you guys comment below which one you think it is, because I would have to say it's the playoff one. I don't think Colorado's going to make it to the playoff. I really don't. Just because I need to see. Well, I'm going to say I don't. I need to see them play before I make that declaration. But I will say when they make it to a bowl game or when they're kind of pushing for a Big 12 title berth, Coach Prime's going to let you guys hear it, and he's going to let everyone hear it because people doubted him, and he doesn't do well when he's doubted. Not on the field. He doesn't do well when people doubt him because he keeps those receipts, and you don't want to be on the wrong end of a Coach Prime receipt. I know that's one of my biggest fears. I already know that one day I'm going to end up in a video somewhere because I said something, and people are like, "See, he said this, and it did not happen." I don't want that to happen, but I do think there's an opportunity for receipts to be kept on both sides of the ball this season. When we come back, we're going to be talking about why everyone is asking the wrong question about Colorado. The biggest question about Colorado is no longer the offensive line issues. It's on the defense, and I'll talk about that more when we come back. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire Stick TV that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you guys get your podcasts, so make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. We hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube recently. We're getting some 5 stars on Apple and Spotify, and I appreciate those. The more you give me, the better I feel like I can do. The more feedback, the better I can do as well. And tomorrow, you guys won't want to miss out. My everydayers, we have an episode with someone from PFF, and we're going to dive into all spring ball topics, and you guys won't want to miss it. But first, I see all these articles and all these discussions about Colorado, and it's like, what is the biggest question about Colorado? And the consensus is the offensive line. The offensive line, are they going to be better? Are they going to be better? They genuinely could not be worse. Like it would require, like, you would need multiple injuries. You would need just guys to not be able to play for this unit to be worse. And they added a ton of depth at this position. They have Savion Washington, who started, I think, every game or majority of the games last season. He's not going to start this next year. Like, it is pretty obvious like that. It's going to be 5 transfers starting. And then you have Tyler Brown, starting experience, big body. He's probably not going to start. They have guys like that who are starting caliber that will not be starting. This offense line is worlds better than what it was. So what is the right question about Colorado? Well, to me, the right question is the front 7, excuse me. I look at these guys, and obviously the defense line, they got some size. They got Torian Carter. They got Anquin Barnes, Quincy Wiggins, all these guys that have potential, have size. They just need a chance to show it on the field. They have Amari McNeil, who played well last season. Shane Cokes, he is a leader. He does what he needs to do. They have BJ Green rushing the passer. They have Samuel O. They're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to stop the run at a higher clip than they were last year. I'm almost certain of it. But to me, and I talked about this repeatedly, the biggest question, without a doubt, drumroll please, or bongos please, is the linebackers. Coach Prime has already said it probably half a dozen times. He said, guys, we need more linebackers. We need more talent. Losing DJ, this isn't him, this is me now. Colorado losing DJ Lundy hurt them tremendously. He was going to be the staple of that linebacker unit. Now they have Jalen Wester, who I think has potential. We'll see. They have Levante Bentley, who has potential. He kind of lost the starting spot, but earned it back. They lost Demoy Kennedy, and they have the Wade twin. They have potential to have depth. They just don't have the depth necessary. So even though they have guys that are talented, they don't have it. Say Bentley goes down, they don't have enough guys there to step up and be like, okay, we're fine. We have so-and-so. Trevor Woods, converted safety, bless his heart. He's going to do well. He's going to help out in coverage. But is he going to help out in the run game, stopping the run? I don't know. That's going to be a big question for him. So if anyone goes to you and is like, you know what, I still have worries about the offense line at Colorado, just bop him in the head and be like, dude, shut your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. Because realistically, Colorado has everything that they need to have kind of squared away over here at offensive line. They have the talent. They have the size. They have all the depth that they didn't have last year. It's the linebacker group where I look at them consistently and I'm like, oof, this group, pray for them. Because the secondary is good. They have Travis. They have Omarion. They have Cormani, DJ McKinney at corner. They have the Liberty transfer, Preston Hodge. They have 5 corners, 5 starting caliber corners. Then at safety, they have Miles Slusher. They have Cameron Sillman, Craig. They have all these guys at safety. And it's just like the linebacker group is the shallowest group possible. They moved Carter Stockmeyer to safety. He was playing a lot of quality snaps at corner for them. So if someone tells you that the biggest question is the offensive line, it's not. It's the linebacker group. And until I see who they add, I'm going to keep hammering on this point. But according to Josh Pate of 24/7, there's going to be a lot of sort of starting caliber players that enter the portal. Now, a lot of them are going to be NIL sort of motivated, so I don't know how Colorado fits into that, but there's going to be plenty of second and third string guys. But if Colorado can land a starting caliber linebacker that starts somewhere else, look out, because this team will take another major step. Thank you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs. I apologize for all the sneezing and the technological issues. We'll get that fixed tomorrow. Make sure to check us out tomorrow. We have a special guest from PFF, Pro Football Performance, and we're going to talk about all things Colorado spring ball. Appreciate all the support that you guys give me. I will see you guys tomorrow.